The big thing we're going to talk about today is this, and this is the difference in long form and short form, and like how they're different and how to brainstorm for them differently, things like that. There's a big difference here. So short form, here's the main differences, roughly. These are guidelines, not like solidified. Long form, short form, more like sketches. It's short, 3 to 5-ish minutes. Very concept driven, very low character development. Long form is more like a web series or short film, 12 or more minutes. Usually, roughly, those are our guidelines. Total, not like each episode, because something like Second Time is long form, even though it's short episodes. Altogether, it's one long form thing. The high level of character development, it's still concept based. Notice one of them is concept driven, one of them is concept based, and we'll get into that. So short form, as I said, it's based around actually I didn't say this yet, but I will now. It is based around one central concept or idea. One thing, kind of takes it, just goes with it. This concept drives the entire sketch, like Ethernet. It's all about Ethernet. Netflix Girlfriend, all about a guy who wants to date a girl just because she has Netflix. And all the jokes and all the humor grow from this central concept. We're going to watch a great example of one, and some of you might have seen this. I think you all might have seen it. I don't know. It's, what? I don't know if Emma's seen it. Matt, did we show you this at some point? You might have seen this. Anyway, it's a great sketch from Wong Fu called Expired. And we're not going to show it on the video. We'll put a link in the description. So go watch it. It is great. I highly recommend it. Hopefully you watched the sketch at home. I know you watched it here because we just watched it.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
Yeah, I know. You missed the sketch. We watched it. It was great. So hopefully you thought it was funny. I think it's funny. It's one of my favorite sketches. There's one concept though they follow. You know, it's a sketch. It's like four minutes. So it's very concept based and all that. It's very it centers around this one concept that the food's about to expire. Everything, the whole sketch is centered around that. But then they take it to the next level. It's not just food's about to expire, big deal. It's like if this food isn't eaten before the expiration date, it's going to explode and kill us all. And you'll notice all their jokes, everything funny happens is based on food or like the expiration of food. I'm still working on the puzzles on the back about the cereal box. What do you have all these groceries that you don't eat? Things like that. So that's a great example of a sketch that stays focused and doesn't wander all over the place. Long form's a little bit different. Long form, what we like to do, and once again, these are general rules that we followed in the past. But long form is built around several characters usually. And you're more focused on the character. Sketches can't do a lot of character development with because it's like 3 minutes. What are you going to learn about the character? But something that's long form, something episodic or like a short film, you definitely want to develop your characters. And you find that each character has their own unique characteristics, and the interactions between characters are what move the plot along, not just necessarily this one central concept. Sketches and long form stuff, short films and web series can definitely have concepts that move things along as well. But the characters are a much bigger deal in long form. So College Life is one example of this. It was a comedic 9-episode web series. Episodes like 10 to 15 minutes each. We have like 4 or 5 main characters. Each character had quirks that led to humorous situations. I'm going to walk through a couple of the characters and how we developed them. Emmett Lloyd's the first one that comes to mind. He's ambitious, incredibly smart, but he's lost on what to do with his life. So that opened up a lot of possibilities of, what can we do with this character who, is like incredibly smart but has no idea what he's doing in life. He's totally lost in a lot of areas. He's at a crossroads in a number of ways. So he decides to create his own major, temporal engineering. He basically pursues time travel. And so there's obviously a lot you can take with that. So that is, time travel is the concept there, but where it's based off of Emmett's quirks as a character, his characteristics. James Ryan's the other one I'm going to talk about in College Life. He's a fun character to write for. He's also pretty smart, but he knows exactly what he's going to do with his life. He's the opposite of Emmett in a lot of ways because he's like he's set. He comes in, he knows he's a computer engineer. He's going to do this, and this. His OCD-ish behavior sets up a large portion of the comedy of the series. You see him he has to measure his desk to make sure it's got perfect 90-degree angles. He gets freaked out by spiders in Minecraft. He does all this crazy stuff. He steals a fork from the dining hall and it bugs he has nightmares about it. A lot of ridiculous situations that we take to the next level. The fork thing is something that kind of happened in real life too, or somehow we based it in real life.
Well, almost all of these were based in some.
Yeah, almost all of them are based somehow in real life, but the fork one is like a specific example of something that happened. We're like, oh, how funny would it be if that bugged the crap out of you, like mentally it bugged you for ever. Second Time's another great one. It's almost the opposite of College Life in tone. It's very dramatic. It's a dramatic 10-episode web series, 3 to 7 minute episodes. 2 main characters, and we limited the use of other characters in Second Time in order to focus on the relationship between Matt and Ann. That was the focus of the whole series, those 2 characters and their relationship. We'll look at Matt. The audience sympathizes with Matt. He's the protagonist of the series. These are all things we come up with in Brainstorming. He's the protagonist. We knew from the beginning audience was going to side with Matt. That was the point of the series. Strengths, he's caring, he's loyal, but his flaws are in his pride and his arrogance. necessarily on Anne's side. She's kind of the antagonist. If it has an antagonist, it would be Anne. It's hard to classify her as an antagonist, but in a lot of ways, she is an antagonist. Because half the series, she's an antagonist. Because half the series, you see her and Matt, and they really like each other. And the other half is like, oh, they kind of hate each other. So strength, she's smart, she's caring, but her flaw is in her like extreme ambition. And you've already seen that in Second Time somewhat, mostly in episode 5, the acceptance one about the college stuff. You'll see that gets in her way a little bit. So short form versus long form. Here's the long and the short of it, if you will. At the brainstorming phase, the writer kind of needs to know. Thank you, Michelle. I'm glad. All right, somebody picked up on. At the brainstorming phase, the writer needs to commit to either short form or long form because they're so different. And we've produced both in the past, but projects that fall in the middle typically don't necessarily go over super well. You know, it's hard to throw character development into a 3-minute sketch. It's just super hard to. Ignore the fact that my T's on another line. I don't know why that's there. Don't judge my slide making skills. But it's hard to throw character development into a 3-minute sketch because you can't. There's just not a lot of time to build any sort of thing like that. It's also hard to keep focused on just one concept for more than 5 minutes. It's hard to carry through a joke like Expired, the Wong Fu sketch. It's hard for that to live on beyond 5 minutes because at some point you run out of stuff to talk about. So you want to keep that fast pace and things like that. This is my last line. I'm going to talk about it just briefly. Just this is the main point I want to get across from brainstorming, is you want to know what you're going for from the get-go. You know, you can use any situation or any idea or anything, but just commit to either long form or short form, and grow from there. Decide, I'm going to develop a lot of characters. It's going to be very simple. It's going to be focused around on this. You don't want to throw too much complication into a 3-minute sketch.